I think there's a social element to this first project. So it's not just about aging, lease decay, because what was in your news analysis was that people stay together, and then as in it's multi-generational families that happen together. It's not just older people who are in their flats, right?
Well, I think when you're looking at the social element or the social impact of us, actually, it might be beneficial to take even further step back. So if you're looking at, like, on a neighborhood level, if you have redevelopment projects, there's going to be some disamenities to residents. And then the verse also includes this element of voting, right? And we don't know the threshold yet, but assuming it's just impossible that you're going to get, I don't think you're going to get into a situation where you have 100% agreement that let's go for verse. So inevitably, there are going to be some leaseholders who want to live out their current leases and stay in their homes until the end of the 9 years. And assuming that the threshold is hit and they are forced to move, then verse doesn't become voluntary for them anymore. And how can we as a sort of society deal or manage the expectations or feelings of these people? I think that calls for some empathy, both from a policymaker's perspective as well as fellow residents, as fellow neighbours. And then, like you said, there are also, we do not yet know the details of what replacement flats will look like. But just going by trends and going by how newer flats are generally smaller than those that are a few decades old, there's a possibility that multi-generational families in a household in a bigger flat now will be offered something smaller. And I think that causes, or that factors into considerations as well in terms of whether or not to take up verse. And what some of the policy observers were saying, that perhaps this is an opportunity to see if there's a differential treatment for these kind of families in terms of offering them maybe 2 units.
I think if you talk about, let's say, for example, just now he mentioned about the voting. I think this will be something that is very interesting to watch, because if you look at the equivalent of this kind of voting, it will be like maybe the collective sales in the private market.
It's like which we have seen it can go on and on, right? And then people get angry, and then they will be upset with their neighbours.
Yes.
So in my mind, that could kind of cause some discord. If I'm living in my HDB block and then I want to do verse and then you don't want to do verse, then how?
So my thinking, let's say, for example, like, it's already such a complicated process when you do it for maybe a private property project. So can you imagine you do it like a full precinct or even like a few blocks within an estate?
Yeah.
So my guess is that perhaps they may consider maybe lowering the threshold, maybe to be slightly lower than 80%.